this is straight up whip music, bro. Like this is gonna
legit,
go crazy in the car speakers, high voltage energy.
That was one of our first reactions to Denzel Curry's new album, Kings of the Mischievous South, Volume 2. OG Denzel Curry fans know that this was a popular mixtape for his catalog back in the day, so it was only right to be able to bump this new album with our entire community on Patreon. If you guys want to check it out, check the pinned comment. The link's right there for you, and you guys have access to our entire catalog as soon as you subscribe. But Lou, let's get into this album review. Artist performance. So this is definitely a change of pace from Melt My Eyes, See Your Future. So what did he do right on this new album?
Yeah, I feel like his mission with the artist performance was to showcase this hyper energetic mic presence, which is present throughout the entire track list, which was a really big highlight for me. The fact that he maintained this consistent high energy from the first track all the way to the last track. Apart from that, I mean, stylistically, you're getting this very dirty vocal mix, these sort of like grainy vocals, and that's a stylistic decision because, of course, throughout the whole album, he's paying homage to the dirty South. He's paying homage to the Memphis sound, the old Florida sound. So it was cool to see him do that on a big level. I want to talk about the hooks as well because that was a big portion of this album. There's hooks on, I believe, every single song on here, and they are very repetitive, but there's some that work and some that don't. For example, hit the floor, hit the floor, hit the floor. Like that was one that got really nauseating really quick. But then when you have the hooks that are composed of maybe like 3 lines or more, and he comes in with like this radiant energy, those are the ones that you can easily get into.
And the ones that I wanted to talk about, at least for the hooks that I really enjoyed, was Set It with Maxo Kream. Like you were talking about, it's not necessarily 1 or 2 words that's being repeated. It's a full sentence, so therefore, like, it does add like a bit more enjoyability to the hook factor. Another one that I really enjoyed has to be Black Flag Freestyle. I really enjoyed this hook, and it was kind of short in comparison maybe to other hooks on the project itself, so I feel like that was a standout for me. Another performance that I really liked was Denzel Curry's first verse on Ultra Shit, and talking about those dirty, distorted, vocals. You first saw it on track number 2 because that's kind of like the real first track of the album itself, and you go through his entire first verse and it just sounds so cool to be able to get him back into like that SoundCloud era and kind of see him back in like his Raider Clan sort of form that you and I started listening to him back maybe in like
early 2010s.
Yeah, early 2010s, so that was really cool to see on that end. But how did you feel about his chemistry maybe with other features throughout this, and how do you feel like he stacked up performance-wise on other sort of tracks?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about the features once we get into that category, but I think it was a cool move to have features on every single song, and I just feel like he was having a lot of fun with this album. And another highlight for me has to be on the song Set It, where I like just the arrangement of the vocals, how it starts off, and his vocals are more drowned it out, and then the vocals go from the background to the foreground, and he comes in with this gritty delivery, hits you with this double time flow. And listen, guys, if you think the mix is very dirty on this album, check out the first Kings of the Mischievous South, because that's like all vocals muffled the whole time. So this is actually cleaner in comparison.
Yeah, I also like some of the quick flows and like those machine gun-esque flows that you get from Denzel Curry throughout the projects. So for example, you'll see it on full display on Wishlist. Verse number 1, he's going in, he's absolutely attacking it. It's fast-paced, it's energetic, and when Denzel locks into that type of flow, it's at home for him. He's never going to be able to lose that. Another area where I saw that happen was on Sked. You just get Denzel Curry absolutely slicing and dicing throughout the beat, and it's just him absolutely ripping it apart. So that was another highlight performance for me. And then another one was Black Flag Freestyle. But this one was interesting because it wasn't necessarily as quick as other performances, but the flow was unique.
It was one flow, and it was effortless.
It was effortless, but it was unique. Like, I can't remember a Denzel Curry song that shares that similar type of flow.
Yeah, and
I
just love how he stayed like locked into that perfect pocket for the whole 16. It was insane. Definitely my favorite song on the album, the Black Flag Freestyle, without a doubt. Apart from that, I also loved what he did on Wishlist. Again, coming in with some manipulated vocals at the start, captures your ears right away, and then he just sounds so lively on the song. And I feel like his performance on this album is pretty pretty consistent all the way through. There's not the most range, but you're getting a very charismatic, confident Denzel.
Very passionate as well.
yeah.
Very aggressive. Like, that's that type of Denzel Curry that I think his OG fans like to see. So overall, I think that we could give the artist performance a great rating.
Yep.
It was consistent. It was passionate. It was aggressive. And it added so much life to the project. But let's get into the features. So this is arguably, I think, the best aspect of this album, because you go from song to song and you will find at least one feature. So where do you want to start with this?
Man, there's so many places to start. We could start off with Eniata, who's featured on Ultra Shit, and I love the performance here. I felt like the pre-chorus, which he had the most runtime on, was more catchy than the chorus itself. Then he goes on to have a show-stopping verse with his take on a triplet flow, which reminded me of like a Lord Infamous triplet flow. And I just feel like he was born to rap over that beat, bro. He absolutely killed it.
Absolutely. Let's keep going on with this. Next one that I want to talk about is Maxo Kream on Set It. That was another standout feature for me. So obviously a Texas legend coming through and kind of playing into the whole South.
Legend, yeah?
I think
that's
Maxo
high
Kream,
praise. Wow.
I think Maxo Kream's a Texas legend.
That's high praise, bro.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
And I think a lot of people from the South would probably agree with me, especially with his impact and what he's done for the state and how he's put on and how he's always repped it. But regardless, though, I think with this type of mixtape too, what I liked about the features is that they felt at home for the vibe that they were going with, right? Like, this is supposed to be a Dirty South sort of project, and getting Maxo Kream into like that type of environment for me was like a match made in heaven. So getting that classic Maxo flow just comes in and absolutely rips it apart for the last verse of the song, and I think it added a lot to it. Then we go on to Hot One. That's where you're going to find Tia Corine and ASAP Ferg. So when we first listened to this in the live album reaction, we were like, okay, the Tia Corine features, all right. ASAP Ferg was cool. You know, nothing too crazy. How do you feel about the features now after like multiple listens?
Yeah, I mean, you know, Tia Corine, she finds a flow, she locks into it. Like, there's nothing necessarily like wrong with the verse itself, but for me, it's the voice I can't get past. Like on this song specifically, and even some other tracks of hers, like, kind of sounds like Bart Simpson. If you really pay close attention, she really sounds like Bart Simpson, if I'm being honest with you. But apart from that, ASAP Ferg comes in. I love the way he ramps up his flow midway through it, you know, giving you some energetic ad-libs and doing his thing, but it felt a bit short to me. I'll be honest. I feel like I wanted to hear a bit more from Ferg, and that's maybe like a minor complaint I have with some of these features, even some other ones we'll get into, is that I feel like I wish they would have had longer runtime. But that being said, most of these songs are around like that 2-minute, 40-second, 3-minute mark. So how long can they really go on for?
Yeah, and you can't really complain about that because you are getting stellar performances from certain features. But speaking about a feature that was longer in runtime, and that was actually a stellar performance, the Mexican OT on Black Flag Freestyle.
Nicest surprise of the album.
Well, he's a great spitter, bro.
He's cool.
And he has like that Mike Jones, like Paul Wall type-esque like flow, and just, you know, right away you're getting like a verse straight from Texas when he's delivering whatever verse he has to do. And going into this song itself, I was expecting great energy, but I wasn't expecting the best feature on the album to come from him. It's arguably
number one?
I think so.
Wow. I'm stuck between that one and between Kenny Mason, who went crazy,
that's crazy
on
as well. But dude, there's a flow that the Mexican OT hits like midway throughout his verse, and it's just it's too OP. It's disgusting. The speeds at which he's rapping at and the way that he makes it all fit and the way that the flow sounds so good and seamless. Come on, bro.
Also,
you can't fuck with that.
Some clever lines like turn his noodle pack into spaghetti, then ride with his body on the hood of the Chevy. He was spitting on that. But let's go on to G's Up, where you had 2 Chainz and Mike Dimes. 2 Chainz kind of let me down. Like, energy-wise, obviously, like, he complimented Zell and the rest.
Have, like 10 lines?
But, bro, like, he repeated, like, a trash-ass line twice. It was, I gave her the D, like she was trying to play some offense. And then he just says the word mosh pit 3 times, and then some other nonsense. Like, it was all right, but, you know.
It was cool, I
besides,
guess.
like, the bold presence he brought, like, there wasn't really much going on with the verse. But Mike Dimes, on the other hand, he went pretty crazy on that song. I like the flow switches, and I just, again, like that he maintained that riled-up energy of the other two. So.
Yeah, but talking about Kenny Mason, you mentioned him before as a contender for one of the best features on this album, and I have to agree with you. Because once you start getting into Sked, bro, the flow that he attacks and like the way that like those Kenny Mason vocals come through on top of that production, it's just such a sick performance, bro. This is arguably, I think, the best song on the album too, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it's up there, bro. It's up there. And yeah, when it comes to Kenny Mason, I just love his use of alliteration with lines like trying to convince the press you thought get it. Wait, hold on. Press you. Yeah, there we go. Trying to convince the press you tough will get you pussies pressed in public. Like he uses like alliteration 3 different times in the verse. He's rapping at these super rapid speeds, and he absolutely kills it even with the menacing tone.
And then you get a classic Project Pat flow to be able to, let's say, close off the song towards the end. Never gets old, and it's just one of the more enjoyable collaborations off of this project.
Yeah, and he uses, of course, the signature flow where he emphasizes the last 2 syllables of
Like
the end rhyme.
yeah, like
Pesa.
the way that he ends up, using.
And you need a 3-6 Mafia on this album. Like you absolutely needed it.
Absolutely. And you're gonna get more 3-6 Mafia because once you go on to Cole Pimp, that's where you're gonna find Juicy J and Ty Dolla $ign. You know what, man? You and I always do Ty Dolla $ign a bit dirty, bro. Because whenever we see him on a feature list, we're kind of like, yeah. Like, okay.
Some sexy serenades by Ty Dolla.
But you know what, bro? I can't complain. He low-key carried Vultures, and this was a solid feature.
Yeah, I like the feature.
I can't talk any shit about this. I can't.
I feel like maybe some people were thrown off looking at the track list and being like, okay, like how is like some romantic auto crooning gonna fit in here? But I mean, given the production, he matched the beat perfectly. He had one of the catchiest hooks on the entire album. I couldn't be mad at it, bro.
No,
he
you
slid.
can't be mad at Ty Dolla $ign.
Of course.
You know what? Ty Dolla $ign for, I should say, Prime Minister in Canada. We'll have him in our country. But okay, let's go on to Juicy J. All right, feature was cool.
It was cool. I mean, what I will say about Juicy J, and it's not like in particular about this feature, but just like his recent sound, he's not aging, bro. It still sounds like I'm getting like 2003 Juicy J, which is a fucking W. So
yeah, it was just cool because like you've gotten that Juicy J feature before.
Yeah.
There's probably like a catalog of like fucking 50 versions of this like one verse.
That's classic 3-6 Juicy J. But all right, next up we have the song Wish List, which had Armani White coming in with a bunch of sporadic flows, rapping as fast as he possibly can. To me, he sort of like, he lost the plot a bit, like he lost the rhythm of the beat at some points, but it was still cool. He went in.
It's acceptable for a mixtape.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's acceptable. And by the way, like, do you feel that about this project? That it definitely has a fucking mixtape vibe.
100%. I feel like it's way
it's
more of a
labeled
mixtape.
as a studio album, but this is a pure mixtape.
And like
vibe.
the first version was a mixtape as well. Like, it's definitely a mixtape. But next up we have Ski Mask, the Slum God, who was featured on Hit the Floor. What did you think of it, bro?
Getting that classic like Ski Mask flow.
Yeah. You've heard a million times.
I've gotten it before. It's just that I feel like because this is going to be one of those songs that really does well in mosh pits, and I'll talk about this a bit more maybe like on the production side of things, but I just didn't like his vocals, bro, over like that distorted production. That was my biggest problem.
Yeah, it was a mid-feature on a bad song to me.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the worst songs off of the album. But regardless, though, always nice to see some Florida legends get their love together and fucking get a collaboration in for a project. But all right, let's end this off with the last features of this album.
Yeah.
We have AP Rocky and PlayThatBoiZay. So
on Hoodlumz, yeah. So PlayThatBoiZay, longtime collaborator of Zell's. Didn't like the feature, I'll be honest. I mean, just some weak ass lyrics like "feeling iconic, need my dick wet, I'm aquatic," or "bitch, I'm lit, electronic."
I'm about my profit. If I raw plug, I'm the socket. Run that shit up, bitch. I'm Sonic.
Yeah, and honestly, like we're about to get into it for the writing. It's definitely the weakest aspect of the album. But AP Rocky on Hoodlumz, that was maybe the most hyped feature of this entire album.
It was cool.
It was decent. It was cool to see him attack a much faster cadence and flow. So that was dope. But I mean, yeah, it was cool.
Well, yeah, but listen, you got some fucking crazy features on this
did.
project. No one really underperformed as a whole. I think the features were great.
The features were great all the way through, and it was definitely a pivotal aspect of the album because you have a feature on every single song. So,
but all right, content time. Time to go on to the content. So listen, guys, I'm a huge Denzel Curry fan, man. Like, did we give
amazing rating from Melt My Eyes on the content?
Feature? For sure, he's one of the best writers in the industry. I just don't think this was the approach with this project. If you're looking for Melt Session #1s, if you're looking for walk-ins, if you're looking for John Wayne's, you're looking for Sirens, you're looking for stuff like, I don't know, Zeniths, you're not finding it here.
No.
Go home. Doors are closed.
Pack it up, guys.
Pack it up. But if you're down to go behind the building and find a sick party, this is the album for you. Because it's carefree, bro.
Yeah.
Doesn't give a fuck throughout the entire album.
I mean, yeah, it's Zell sort of like playing that braggadocious character who is experiencing adventures in the zoo and the underworld, and all that matters is like excessive cash, bad women, and guns, you could say, and like just the status all of those provide for him, and how he uses them to his benefit. That's really what it is. What was cool content-wise, I guess you could say, is that he did have a Memphis rap pioneer, Kingpin Skinny Pimp, who narrates the album, speaks on the intro and the outro, and even samples him various times throughout the album. And I thought that was cool because when you think of Memphis, a lot of the praise goes to like 3-6 Mafia, 8-Ball, and JMG. But he's someone that sort of like goes under the radar a lot of the time, so it's cool to see Zell give him that recognition. In terms of like song concepts, again, you're not really finding much except for Wishlist. Wishlist was a nice detour because it's Zell sort of like giving a warning to rappers that are going on tour, being like, listen, watch out for the groupies, check what their intentions are, they might fuck you over.
Like, you just go through the concept, and like we were having the conversation of the content score, let's say, before we put out this review, and you had asked me the question. You're like, find me a memorable verse, low-key writing-wise, or something that maybe sticks out writing-wise.
Yeah.
You go through the lyrics, man. I tried to analyze this album on Genius, and, you know, you can't make an argument for the writing on this album. It's pretty subpar.
It's mid.
But you know what? The thing is that, like, if you wanted to get lyrical schmirical with this album, we would have completely thrown off the vibe of the project. That's not what you're here for.
That being said, though, like, you do have like songs like A Story No Title off Imperial that like kind of juggle both, where you're getting like those volatile performances with like some sick storytelling or writing. So it is possible to blend both, in my opinion, but that obviously wasn't the approach or the purpose with this. So that's cool. But it's going to get a mid rating from us.
It is going to get a mid. Like, come on. Like an astronaut, this plastic Glock will knock your head to space.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's the thing, too, is that like even the wordplay and like the one-liners weren't super memorable for me.
I got me some guap and I got me some haters. I got me a Glock and it came with a laser.
Yeah, you know?
So. It's good. Yeah, it's super elementary. But at the end of the day, that's not what you're here for. You're here for the other shit. But all right, mid-rating for the content. Let's go into the production. So, where do you want to start? Want to start on the highlights? Where do you want to go?
Yeah, shout out to some of the producers. There's Charlie Heat on here. There's Oogie Main, Hollywood Cole, Mad World, and many more. Very diverse producer list that all had kind of one goal in mind. Let's start off with the intro, because that's one of my favorite beats with Ultra Shit, where we have this cloud rap-esque production. It sounds like it could have been produced by Space Ghost Perp during the Raider Clan days, and has that lo-fi sonic element that you would hear from like the early 3-6 Mafia days. So that was just a perfect production.
Yeah, you're also getting these fast-paced drums, and it's exhilarating but also relaxing at the same time to listen to, and I love that type of production. And like you said, find it in the old SoundCloud days, and it has also a dirty mix on it too. So like, not sure if because like, you could hear the loop in back, right? And it's almost muffled to a certain extent, right? So I really enjoyed that about the production. I want to talk about a production though that I did not enjoy, and I believe that is going to be on Hit the Floor. Yeah, so I understand.
Yeah.
This is mixtape Zell. I'm not coming here for fucking Devil in a New Dress. I don't want that. But I was never biggest fan of like just distorted bass.
Super
and,
bass shit, yeah.
Yeah, it's just not for me. I understand how this is going to maybe go crazy for some people in the whip or within mosh pits, live settings, whatever the case may be. But for my rotation, I do feel like this was a big like outlier as far as like production goes.
So how did you feel about Sked then? Because that was also like earth-shattering bass to the max.
But at least it felt good, bro. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I was able to hear the loop in back. I was able to hear the vocals properly. Like, this is just like clipping.
Yeah.
It's literally just clipping.
It was too much.
Yeah, it was just absolutely too much. For my liking. For some people, it might be good. For some people, it might be bad.
Yeah, another production highlight for me comes on Cole Pimp, where we get this fusion of like some classy jazz with some more, heavy southern drums and a beautiful piano outro. Like, that was just, again, a nice balance of some smoother sounds and some more hard knocking brash sounds on a production. So.
I will say this though, best beat on the album, Black Flag Freestyle,
Fuck,
bro.
Yeah, it's just the best song.
Shout out to 187 Ricky and Payday. That shit's crazy, bro. That is nuts. I can't remember the last time I've heard a fucking beat this good, low key.
Bro.
It's a really
Those
sick.
horn lines, like the Memphis synth line, the hardcore kick drums,
Bro,
like
the
it's just
drums,
so anthemic.
The 808s on this
Oh.
song will fucking break the universe.
Mm-hmm.
It'll break everything. You're locked in as soon as you listen to this.
This is
beat, bro.
low key one of the biggest bangers I've heard in a couple years. I'm not gonna lie.
Really? You're
Yeah,
going that
it's
far?
going that level after like multiple listens in the whip. Yeah,
It's a serious banger, bro.
It's really up there, bro.
It really is.
Another cool production, just because of like all the nods to old like dirty South hip hop and shit, was a hot one where you get the Juicy J Yahoo ad libs. You get a sample of the Gimme Some Family song "Fear No Evil," some disc scratches, some hard hitting drums. So again, just cool to see him pay homage to that sound and really take us back to that time. G's Up, I like that one because that was more dark. You had these ominous keys ringing throughout it, and a nice, creepy, operatic vocal line that was in the background. But ultimately, yeah, bro, I thought the production was pretty solid.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Give it a good rating.
Give it a good rating.
Nothing revolutionary, but it was good for Denzel Curry standards. But okay, replay value time. Let's do this.
Let's do
So,
it, man.
I want to say this. This project clocks in at like 34 minutes. It's 15 songs. I think there's 4 interludes on this entire project.
Yeah, it's only really like 10 songs.
Yeah, because
there's 5 interludes, I believe.
Well, there's a head crack interlude, lunatic interlude, choose wisely intermission, and then after that,
An intro and outro.
Okay,
There's really only 10 songs on this album.
You're right.
And I'm keeping a good 7 out of them, to be honest
Keeping
with you.
7 out of them.
Keeping a good 7, probably. What about you?
I'm gonna keep. Okay, well, let's do this. Let's do the official.
What are you not
count.
keeping? How about that?
Hit the Floor is going. Do I want to go back to Hoodlumz? Do I want to go back?
Hot One's not probably staying for me.
No.
No, Hot One wasn't it for me.
Really?
So, yeah, Hot One, then I would go with Hit the Floor, obviously, and then Hoodlumz. Those are the 3.
I've been junking Ultra shit.
Oh, for sure.
I've been junking Set It.
Mm-hmm.
Black Flag Freestyle.
G's Up.
G's Up. Sked. Coal Pimp. Wishlist.
Yeah,
you're right. 7.
Yeah.
So
7
maybe
out
out
of
of like 7 out of the 10 songs that you're getting, not including interludes. I think the replay value on this shit is great.
It is great, bro. Like, this is meant like to just fucking blast on the biggest speakers you could find in the vicinity. Yeah, it's whip music, bro.
Absolutely.
It really
And
is.
especially if you like Denzel Curry, bro, like this is a treat.
It is a treat.
You've like it's been so long since you've gotten a project like this from him. The closest thing to this, maybe Zoo, but even at that, Zoo's completely different.
That was more like, I feel like South Florida
yes.
rap, and this is more Memphis sound, you know? That's the biggest difference.
This is like an encapsulation of everything.
More so Memphis,
Because
though.
but you're also getting Texas sounds and you're getting Texas features too. Like that's why I
Yeah.
feel like this is like really an homage to everything. You're right. That was more like South Florida. But regardless, though, it has that loose feeling, let's say, that a Zoo has, and I really enjoyed that about the project. So I'm gonna be spinning this, bro. I'm gonna be spinning this
yeah.
project. This is gonna go fucking crazy. My whip replay value, great.
So,
Great rating.
overall thoughts about this
Overall
album,
thoughts?
man.
Definitely gonna hit my rotation. I fuck with it. Yeah, the writing's weak, but whatever. I'm all worried. I'm not coming here for the writing this time. I got Melt My Eyes Here Future for that if I wanted. And with this, I just feel like the consistency and the curation of the project really came through. He understood the assignment. Really, I can't think of one feature that was misplaced.
Yeah, no.
Even getting the
wasn't,
ski mask feature that I was not a big fan of for like fan homage and like stuff like that. That was a great decision. You know, fuck it, get in there. I'm sure people are going to enjoy it. Not only that, but this is a project to like destroy your car speakers. Shouldn't be doing anything else with this.
Yep.
Should not be doing anything else with this besides putting it in your fucking gym playlist and whipping it. That is absolutely it. At least in my opinion.
Absolutely.
You,
But
Lou?
yeah, super fun album. I think that it's filled with bangers the whole way through. Very consistent. I think that it extends Denzel's run of having this fantastic discography. He still is yet to put out a bad or even like mediocre album, you could argue, which is really impressive from Denzel. So he's got to be coming up in more all-time catalog conversations, especially for this generation. Apart from that, I think that it is predictable. You kind of know what you're getting after you hear the first few tracks, but it was cool to see him take us back in time and pay homage to the sound that really molded who he was as a rapper and show that he still connected with his roots, and I feel like this is the most confident I've ever heard Denzel. Like, he sounded like he was in his bag, and he knew exactly how to deliver certain flows, and he killed it, bro. He killed it. Great album overall. But guys, let us know down in the comments, how would you score this album? And as we mentioned at the beginning of this, we did a live album reaction to this project. So if you guys want to access it, hit the link in the pinned comment.
Yes, sir.
Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Peace.